Why does this abbreviation TLDR have a punctuation mark in it? The abbreviated form of too long, didn't read is TLDR. To me, it kind of defeats the purpose of typing an abbreviation quickly if I have to type the key too. Why is TLDR more common than TLDR, and usually used with semicolon? I have read the wiki discussion, but I'm not too clear on this. Snafu comes to mind as one, which could be SNFU. Are there any other such abbreviations which have punctuations in them?
In several programming languages, is required at the end of every statement. It's usually seen at the end of every line, but multiple statements can be put on one line separated only by semicolons. As it originated from a tech-literate crowd, I suspect the semicolon has been added to separate the two statements. Too long, didn't read. TLDR, programmers like using semicolons to separate statements. Edit, a citation has been requested. I originally made this statement based on personal experience of first encountering it only amongst a technically proficient audience before seeing its usage spread. Unfortunately, being internet slang, it's a touch difficult to track down a verifiable origin. However, No Yo-Yo Memes article on TLDR states, unknown origin. It's not entirely clear where and when TLDR first began, but the term has been used on Gen May since at least 2003. Example, on June 19, 2003, Gen M, a user Woptang created the thread TLDR asking, what does it mean? As per this article, Gen May, General Mayhem, is a spin-off forum from Oct, hardware overclockers comparison page. Overclocking is a reasonably technically involved process, so I'd feel safe calling them a tech-literate crowd. However, essentially this is conjecture on my part. Commenters on a Reddit thread on this subject suggests a different theory. They are two separate clauses of a related nature. It is correct grammar correct to place a semicolon between them if you did not want them to be individual sentences. But more than that, it shows that the second sentence is a result of the first. It was too long, therefore I didn't read it. Though I'm still inclined to side with the latter comment stating, because it is the only semicolon most of us get to use outside of programming. TLDR, because TLDR PT2, I believe this to be the case, however YMMV.
Punctuation, even though there are regularities in it, is almost entirely a creature of custom and fashion. There is no answer to a question like this other than, that's how people have started writing it.
I can think of a handful of ideas but have no references. The phrase too long, didn't read, actually makes sense with a semicolon in place of too long and didn't read. The short, bursty phrase sounds better, and is shorter, as too long didn't read. Something feels missing. A semicolon works. Why that in place of a colon is what I wonder about. Too long, didn't read, would work just as well. Shortening too long, didn't read into TLDR makes sense. My guess is the semicolon came with because TLDR was confusable with something else happening at the time, or people were not picking up on the abbreviation until the semicolon was added. That being said, there is something aesthetically cool about having the semicolon that distinguishes it from other shortened phrases. I am having trouble thinking of another phrase that does this. TLDR just looks like a serial number or massive typo. TLDR looks like it means something. Instead of wondering if the author made a mistake, you know it means something and are encouraged to ask what it means. The time it takes to add the is minimal. The key is one away from L. Tech crowds are used to typing semicolons frequently, and it wouldn't be any more difficult for them to type TLDR than it is to type any other 5-letter word. Of note, the abbreviate appears to be under quite a bit of meme pressure. The forces of the internet don't seem entirely happy with it yet. I have heard people refer to it as a TLDR or TLDR, and even spell it out as such. TLDR is used. Authors as well as readers use it. Long posts will often have a TLDR segment near the bottom. Some people like to put it before the content. Some people capitalize it as TLDR or TLDR. With the advent of easy-to-access video, you will also see the variation TL, DW, and audio could conceivably have TL, DL. This could be another reason the semicolon is there. Variations are quickly recognizable. Too long, didn't read /watch/listen belong to the same family. The phrase is here for now and will probably go through a few more evolutions before it settles in. My generation of internet users knows it well. The kids get to decide whether it stays or dies.
There are probably a lot of hyphenated abbreviations. Come to think of it, shouldn't most abbreviations have punctuation in them to denote the fact they're abbreviations? I've already used the apostrophe several times, and you'd often see things like etc., whereas etc. would be incorrect. Certainly an interesting point in the case of TLDR though, you'd think punctuation would be one of the first thing to go if you're trying to abbreviate something.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.